Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today, it's going to be a match between Reynor and Maru here on Everdream, the latter edition. This is from DreamHack. They just released their replay pack a couple of days ago. I figured I would cast a game from Maru because Samacron likes him a lot because he directed me towards the replays from DreamHack. So this is your reward. Maru versus Reynor in a long macro game. Alright, alright. Okay, so top right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player. It is Reynor. And in the bottom left, it is the red Terran player, Maru, who has probably the most variability in skill level and performance of anybody in StarCraft right now. He is capable of being a world champion. He's capable of losing 3 times in a row to somebody he has no business losing to. So, he's fun. He's fun to watch for that very reason. I've been able to cast a lot of Maru recently. We haven't had a lot of Korean-involved replays available. GSL will not release their replays at all, which is terrible. But I've been doing a better job watching professional StarCraft in the GSL scene because my whole reasoning from not doing it that much was, number one, I don't have a lot of time. And number two, I just don't, I don't like watching stuff and then casting it. It's hard for me to be surprised by what's happening. However, since GSL's never ever in the history of ever releasing their replays, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm watching GSL stuff, having a lot of fun with it. And again, there's this whole theory. Zerg feels overpowered because players like Serral and Reynor keep winning everything. But when they're not around, like when it's GSL and neither Serral nor Reynor compete in GSL because they don't live in Korea and that's the rule, like Zerg aren't great. They just aren't. Don Regu is qualified for the latest playoff in GSL Season 2. GSL Season 1 was a TBT final. And Season 2 looks like maybe there could be a maximum of 3 Zergs in the final 8 spots for the playoff. So I look at it and go, I mean, is it just that Serral and Reynor are that much better than everybody else in the world? And maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. So here's a Reaper. This Reaper's name is My Free Time. And we have some more. We have some more to that, but we'll get there when we get there. Nothing crazy in the early stages of this match. Everyone doing the most standard things of all time, of all possible things you could do. Nobody proxying in any sense. Reynor not proxying, Maru not proxying. The Reaper dance and the Queen pops. And then the Reaper gets out, and Reynor's control of his lings is so good that 0 Zerglings die. So no resources lost at this stage of the game. Does anybody do anything crazy? No. It's a factory back home for Maru. Reynor's getting queens. He's getting speed. He's getting a 3rd hatch. I mean, all sorts of just whatever. We are doing what people have been doing for a while here. The meta has not changed, especially in this particular matchup in some time. But for the openings, at least, it almost takes... I don't know. What would it take for the ZVT opening to change substantially? Something that would make Zerg players feel unsafe throwing down a 16 hatch would be my guess. Some kind of buff to the Reaper. Some kind of... like a decrease to the build time on the Reaper, right? So the Reaper could get here earlier. Maybe something like that. But I mean, other than that, I don't know. It would take something pretty drastic. Hellion's moving out. Going to do a Hellion Reaper play, as is tradition. Ready? On your marks. Get set. Go. Oh, they're going the wrong way. All right, so they're backing out. Overlord trying to go for the scout. There's a Marine trying to stop this, but I mean, what are you surprised by here? Not much. I guess it's probably not mech. If the tech lab on the barracks is researching something, probably not mech. You don't see multiple factories at this point. You don't see a tech lab on the starport, so it's not battle cruisers. So everything is looking good for Reynor. He's supply block, which I'm surprised by. Yeah, usually you account for losing that Overlord, especially if you're suiciding into the main base like that. So the fact that he didn't have another Overlord already queued up is kind of freaking me out. But Baneling Nest on the way from Reynor. Bases are all connected with creep at the stage. Queens are exactly where they need to be to deal with these shenanigans. Reaper gets out of there with 1 HP. 4 HP, perhaps. 4 HP is not a lot of HP. And Zerglings do get roasted up as they try to poke their nose into Maru's business. Boom. Hit that like button, by the way, if you're excited about this match. I think it's going to turn out to be an incredible one, to be honest with you. Maru, again, very capable of being abjectly terrifying when it comes to this sort of thing. I love him. I love Maru. And he's very capable of doing some head-scratching things that make him lose games against people he shouldn't lose games to. So Maru, his results are never surprising. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with like an innovation, right? Innovation, no matter who he beats, as the Lynx try to get us... Oh, they got us surround. Are you kidding? I thought the Hellions could slip out there. Nope. Reaper, get out of there. I don't think there's anywhere to go for this guy, to be honest. He has no high ground to hop onto. The Lynx have speed. He's trying to hop down to low ground, but no. And look at that. My free time is gone. Oh, my free time. All right. So Maru not going for a third base. That is a big key right here. The Overlord did see also a complete lack of a command center. So at this stage of the game, I mean, going for a fourth base seems a little bit greedy here, Reynor. It really feels like a two-base, very strong attack here with Combat Shield with +1 attack. Stim is already researched for these Marines. A bunch of tanks coming in here too. We've seen Zerg players lose to this. Just a bit of a two-base Marine tank push can be pretty devastating, especially if they're set up in places like on this low ground where the tanks can't get surrounded very easily. Or perhaps down here could be a problem as well. So let's see what happens right now. There was a Ling out that did scout this is happening. That's huge for Reynor. It allows them to pump up 16 Lings, make 6 Banelings. More Queens are out. Trying to get centrifugal hooks. They should... Yeah, centrifugal hooks should be done by the time this thing really gets started. As Maru is just setting up here. Again, in a place where it's not easy to get surrounded. Dang! Reynor's just going in with Lings, man. Lings and slow Banelings. Look at this. He's going to get the tanks. At the least... Oh, hold on. Okay, gets the tanks. But all the Lings are dead, and Queens are off creep, and they're getting sniped. Snipe. Oh, boy. The Banelings are here. Should he have waited for speed on those Banes? I don't know. Maru's like, fine, he got the tanks, but Marines are all still here. They're very upset at you. They've got Stim. They've got Combat Shield. Your Zerglings in these numbers can't do very much. Here come the Banelings, though, and that's a pickup. Get out of there. Free tank again. Tanks not accomplishing much in this scenario. Trying to unload out here. He has enough Marines to do so. And Reynor is forced to flee. +1 ground carapace is almost finished up here for Reynor, which is going to be a big-time upgrade for him. Really helps to survive against these Marines. Again, any kind of armor you can get against Marines is good because they're attacking quickly, but not very much. So every one of their attacks, the armor is applied to that attack. Medivacs swinging back. Zerglings, oh, get around. This is so good to do, too. This has been a thing since Brood War, right? You get into the supply lines of the Terran. The Terran just wants to lazily walk units across the map and set up at your front door, but if you harass... Oh, the surround. The, jeez, 3-directional surround here. The tanks are just not surviving today. That is the 4th tank killed in the first 7 minutes of this game. Every tank that Maru has sent out against Reynor has been killed. And that's good. That is good for what Reynor's trying to do. He's trying to go Ling Bane. And if your opponent ends up getting 4 or 5 tanks and they're just blasting Banelings, one-shotting them from distance, then suddenly you're going to have a bad time. 4th base from Reynor, like I said, a little bit greedy, but looks like he can save it with, again, handful of Lings and Banes. He's going for a Hydralisk Den and an Infestation Pit. Maru's 3rd base is done. And upgrading itself to an orbital. Actually, it's already an orbital command at this stage. It's just making SCVs. Zergling's trying to do something about this, but Maru does set up a defense. Ready to rock. Ready to rock there. And Reynor can finally take a breath. He's droning up. Again, he's going for those 2 tech structures I mentioned previously. Maru is just going Marine tank, man. There is no indication he's going to switch into anything else right now. Marine tank is his bread and butter. It is very good. He knows how to make good trades in this situation. And Reynor is getting a Lurker Den, which we've seen kind of hit and miss against Terrans. In 2020, at least. The Lurker Den can be pretty good, but I feel like the better the Terran player is, the worse it is against them. So I'm sure Maru has some experience with this particular Lurker style that Reynor is going for. He'll have to split against the Lurkers. He'll have to get tanks. Marines can get in there on top of the Lurkers because they don't do bonus damage versus Marines. They do bonus versus light. Or sorry, versus armored, which is, interestingly enough, Marauders. A couple creep tumors get picked off, no big deal. Maru sneaking around the bottom right side here. Resources lost. We're looking at 3,000 to 5,000. Favoring the Terran player, which is to be expected at this stage of the game. 75 to 60 workers income is favoring Reynor. But Maru, sneak attack! Gets into the 4th base. A couple drones go down. A Queen gets instantly murdered. I think she just popped. Decent. Okay, really good Baneling hits there. And Maru loses everything. Those are empty medevacs going home, ladies and gentlemen. That is brutal. Brutal, brutal stuff there for sure. All right, so in other news, Another drop moving out here. A hive is on the way. There's really no Spire at all to deal with this. We've seen Zerg players recently just kind of not go Spire when Terran's going drops. Terran is getting a lot of medevacs out, which I feel is a mistake. One way to beat a Terran player is to kill their medevacs if they're going bio. If they're not going bio, don't worry about it, obviously, because the Thors don't care. But again, more creep clearing here. And it's just hard to kill medevacs if you just have Hydras. And if you don't even have Hydras, it's even extremely harder. We've seen Zerg players try to do that. It was Dark, I think, at GSL. He tried to go nothing that could shoot up against Innovation. And Innovation was going bio. He had a ton of medevacs. The medevacs were not dying because the Queens weren't doing it. And surprise, surprise, Dark ended up losing that game. It's just, again, Korean Zergs, Korean Elite Zerg players, sometimes, I don't know if it's stubbornness or they don't want to show their builds for stuff that matters. I don't know. GSL, I feel like, matters a lot, though. It's very strange, is what it is. Reynor's 5th base gets a little bit of an attack in there. Both players are getting tons of upgrades down the right side. Thank you, Game Heart interface. Some people ask, why isn't this available in every game? Well, it's only if the game was played with the Game Heart interface enabled, which you can't do in ladder games. It has to be a custom game with the Game Heart mod enabled on that custom game. Maybe one day we can get it enabled for ladder games, and then every game that is cast can indeed contain all the information that Game Heart gives us, but otherwise, no. There's literally no defense in the main. Okay, there's a queen. I'm not sure that I consider one queen. Maru was like, the main base is too easy. Let's drop it the natural. He does scout the Lurker Den, I think, for the first time today. Bunch of drones going. 10 drones down. Jeez. That's insanity. What a great play. And then the big drop boosts into the main while Reynor's in the natural. And he unloads, got the Marauders, got the Widow Mines in the mix. More drones going down. Reynor with a big, huge counterattack. He's got Lurker, Baneling, Viper, Ling abducting the tanks into just whatever is happening here. Tech structures going down. The Infestation Pit going to die. The Hydralisk Den is dead. And no tech structures are dying for Maru here. That's huge. This is an incredible situation right now. The Hive goes down. Dude, the spawning pool is going to die too. Reynor, that was not a good trade. You cannot kill 9 SCVs and a couple tanks. He didn't even kill the base because it could lift off against the composition that Reynor had. Dude, the Lurker Den just died as well. Reynor is totally reset right now. This is a disgustingly bad situation for him. Maru is killing it right now. Parasitic bombs on the medevacs. The splits are pretty good. About as good as you can expect them to be. Gets 2 of the medevacs, which is pretty much guaranteed damage based on how damaged they were already. So Reynor has to rebuild his lair. He already started that when he recognized the spawning pool was probably going to go down. Then he replaced the spawning pool. Did he need a Hydralisk Den? If he's going to continue to go with his tech. No. He didn't. He does not have any tech except for Banelings. He can make Banelings from existing Lings, but he can't make any more Lings until the spawning pool is done. He did manage to squeeze out a couple Lurkers here. Again, he brought them home from that attack on the 3rd base, which is massive. Maru's got a 4th base behind this, which is disgusting. More Parasitic Bomb. Oh, geez, these medevacs. I think that one's totally dead. This attack gets shoved away. And at the 13-minute mark, we are just taking a bit of a breather here as these 2 juggernauts face each other on the ground. I mean, this is some good StarCraft. This is the stuff that I live to cast. I love it so much. Just the 2 of the best players for their respective races going at it. Look at these guys. They're like, the main base wasn't replanted at all. Reynor does not care. These poor guys left out in the cold end up getting murdered top left. And that medevac is just leaving everyone to die. I mean, the Widowmine got some kills there, but still. Everyone is dead there. 11 kills on that Widowmine. Has Reynor been given the time to retech up? He's got a new Infestation Pit. He could probably upgrade that to a Hive, except he's fairly... I don't know, he's got a ton of resources here. He's fine. Dude, did Reynor just recover from losing 41 drones and all of his tech? Reynor is disgustingly good at this game, you guys. This kid, he's 18 years old, and he's doing stuff like this. Oh, another... nice pull. Nice pull. Trying to Baneling Bomb the Planetary. Does he have enough left? He does. Just barely to Baneling Bomb that Planetary. The 4th base of Maru does go down, and Reynor finally takes down his 1st base. Is this replacement Lurker Den, same spot? Maru going to kill it again from the same spot. He's trying. But it's not going to work out. What are the upgrades on these Lings? No attack upgrades on the Lings? Oh, that's why. They're not going to be very good versus the bio. I mean, okay, +1 is actually done. +1 is done. +2 got canceled, I believe. Evolution Chamber inside the main was working on that. So Reynor's working on +2 for his Lings. He knows he needs those upgrades in order to do anything against this bio-heavy composition that Maru is rolling with. He lost his 4th, but he's got a 5th on the low ground, and got a replacement from his main floated all the way over to the 4th base. So Maru's okay. Income is hugely favoring Reynor right now. Reynor is just so able to replace his economy whenever he needs to. It's kind of insane. Hydra's walking into tank fire and planetary fortress fire is not what you want. But the lurkers, with the extra range on that upgrade they got. There was a hive temporarily. There's a new hive on the way. But look at this. Lurkers from the high ground stabbing into that planetary, forcing a lot of repair to happen. The ghosts are here to steady target down the liberators as soon as the scan happens. Maru is patiently waiting for the scan. Oh, he abducts the ghosts in there. They do toss some EMPs down, but 2 of them die. The other 2 do manage to remain. Oh, further abducts against the ghosts. Again, no bonus damage versus the ghosts as they are not armored units. They are psionic. Oh, so good. Oh, did he finish off this hatch in the meantime, though? Look at this. In the face of lurkers, everybody in that group dies. But he finishes off the hatch because it was so injured. Maru, disgusting. Disgustingly good at this game. This ghost dies again. The scan comes up. The tanks are firing, but the scan doesn't last long enough to kill all of them, and the repair on the planetary is just too good. Reynor trying to sneak into this 3rd base, but there is just a network of Widow Mines in there they can't navigate. There aren't enough Lings for that to happen. You can't navigate the Widow Mines and get in that mineral line at the same time. It's just not going to work at all. Reynor never bothering to replace his main whatsoever. He's done in there. He's finished. He's got a bunch of gas, and he can take it later if this game turns really crazy on Everdream, which I suppose it absolutely could. So Reynor is on. I mean, he lost his main, but he's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases, including that one that he's trying to get back up and running. So income back down to favoring Maru after he did all that damage to the economy of Reynor by killing that 4th base. The 5th base is happy. Widow Mines try and do stuff, but Overseers are pretty plentiful at this stage of the game, so that's not going to do a whole lot. Boy. Reynor's 6th sense about where these drops are. I mean, he just assumes there's stuff, right? Wipes it out. Maru not really paying attention because he's over here. As Tastosis would say, the screen is over here. His screen cannot be in 2 places at once, even though they can swap between 2 places very quickly. Yeah, Maru is forced to lift off that base entirely. Some EMPs get tossed down on the Vipers. Nicely done by Maru. But still sieging up here a little bit. The Vipers can't abduct, which is kind of a huge part of this. This is almost like Reynor is playing the style he goes against Mech, but versus Marine Tank Marauder instead. Which, honestly, I don't super support, as that's not working out for those lurkers very well, is it? Enhanced Shockwave is coming in. Maru's like, I don't usually get this upgrade against Zerg, but there's a lot of Vipers floating around, so it's going to be a good investment for sure. What a crazy, crazy scrappy game so far. We're only 17 minutes into this thing, and I don't think we're anywhere near done. Both players effectively maxed out. Reynor is just producing more Hydras, more Banelings, going for 3-3 across the board for his ground upgrades. Maru's been at 3-3 for some time. You can see it there in that upgrades tab and down below at the bottom where it shows thanks to the WCS interface. Although now that WCS isn't a thing anymore, what do they call this? Does ESL use the... I guess they just use the WCS in-game observer interface. I hadn't even considered that is a thing that needs to be considered. Maru marching up into Reynor's attempt at holding this 12 o'clock base. Handful of Zerglings and a Spine are not going to be enough to shut this thing down. A big response from the south is required. They're heading up. That hatchery is done, though. If you allow a Terran to get within spitting distance of your hatchery with that much stuff out of medevacs, it's going to die. The hatch dies, gets replanted immediately. The army was just seconds too late. Top left base by Reynor being taken here. Maru has expanded down to the low... Actually, no, this is a base he's had for some time. So he hasn't expanded for a little bit, actually. This is my favorite. This purple is just so pretty. I like that it's glowing on the siege tank as it gets brought out. Whoever came up with the Rich Vespine Geyser visual effect, I think they need a raise. That is just... It's aesthetically pleasing. Reynor expanding bottom right, which is good against this mobile style of Maru. Because Maru can't really have enough forces in two places at once. necessarily to wipe out both of these bases. I mean, okay. A little bit. I guess it's not like he's playing against Mech here, where Mech is slow and ponderous, and expanding to opposite sides of the map is a little bit more feasible. But still, even against Bio that is fast, it is harder for the Terran player to control your expansions if they're that far away from each other. Tanks going down. Reynor coming in. I don't think this is a great situation for him, but the Baneling's getting some decent connections. But everyone survives there for Maru. Everybody looks good. And finally, I think Reynor might be able to finish off this third base that has been harassed. Oh my gosh, it's alive. The pickup, the retreat of the orbital, and it is alive. The spines are just insane. Steady targeting against the lurkers is such a good spell, though. It does so much damage, ignoring armor. But the lurkers, again, they have 3 armor. Oh my gosh, we're going to have nukes. We're going to have nukes. Maru expanding further up the left side. I don't think he knows about this. He doesn't know about the top left-hand base at all. He knows about the bottom right one. And this is, just probably Reynor's saving grace, is that Maru has not scouted that top left-hand corner at all. He's assuming, oh, that's so close to being spotted by the vision here of this missile turret. It's just right on the edge. That's insanity. That is insanity. Maru doesn't like what he sees here. He's going to pull back, as pretty much a huge chunk of Reynor's army is here waiting for him. So they'll divert their attention, come down, try to jump on top of the tanks. Missile turrets getting some nice hits off on those Overseers and the Vipers. Lurkers stabbing from the ground from the other side, and the planetary goes down to the Hydralisks. The Banelings do finish off a ton of those SCVs. Another orbital retreating and should be able to be saved by Maru's care and attention to his orbitals. Look, this one's back. This one got repaired, not to full, but it's back. Definitely. Reynor is just maxed out, though, is the problem. He's maxed out. He's at 3,000 minerals and 1,200 gas. He's just banking a bank here right now that Maru can't keep up with at the moment. He's dropped a ton of mules, but the income is still favoring the Zerg player. He's just taken over everything. He actually hasn't connected creep to the top left-hand base. I wonder if he's... Oh, he still doesn't know. Maru, you have to know about this base. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. There's no income happening here whatsoever. It's just kind of a staging scouting area for Reynor at this stage. Oh, he scans.
Base is under attack.
He scans. Simultaneous attacks from Reynor coming along that left side to Maru. Another attack coming into the third. But once again, Maru defends that one more easily than the one that is further away from his main base, which makes a lot of sense here. Positioning is so important. And once again, a bunch of lurkers go down. This is, again, lurkers not in a straight-up engagement against both Terran and Protoss. Lurkers aren't that good. If there are enough Immortals running around and enough Zealots running around versus those lurkers, they will die. And just Marine Marauder tank is just good against lurkers, although this is pretty nuts. Coming in, moving away from the lurker spines, abducting ghosts, target firing the ghosts to kill them, and not actually able to kill them, because again, they have armor, and they don't get any bonus damage from the lurker spines. I need to check on this. Dude, he still doesn't know. He still doesn't know this is here. Maru, you must, at one point in the last 10 minutes, feels like, have scanned that location, but no. No, you haven't. Yeah, I think Reynor is just economically starving out Maru here. He's taken bases that are technically on Maru's side of the map right now. There's really nothing in the middle here. Like some bases have some maps have bases towards the middle. Another attack from Reynor, just wiping out this third base. This poor Maru's third base. You'd think it'd be mined out by now, but it's been evacuated so many times. No. Again, Maru defending against the constant aggression of the Zerg player. More lurkers go down. Good evacuation on the drones. This poor Zergling runs in just to die. 2 drones go down and a Zergling, and the drones go back to work immediately. The awareness of Reynor is sick right now. So even if Maru can hang on to these bases, he's spending so much money repairing after each one of these engagements. He's never been able to get a decent gas bank up of any sense. 47 Banelings. 47 Banelings are in production. This base is Maru's, but again, Creep is making sure it is not Maru's. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I think he's just now scouting this base. He just now found out there was a base up here. He's like, that sucks. Maru decides, well, let's defend here. Reynor comes cruising down the ramp. Blinding Cloud on the tanks. Banelings everywhere. Hydralisk trying to finish off what is left here. This orbital command of Maru's on the left side might finally actually go down, but you know what? It gets saved again. Only 9 SCVs die. A couple tanks go down. Maru is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. He's going to go ahead and wipe out this top left base. There's not enough from Reynor to save it in this location, but he is just down too much in supply. If Maru wins this thing, it's going to be one of the more impressive comebacks. And for Reynor to win this thing is going to be one of the more impressive comebacks I've ever seen. You know when these two get together, it's going to be fantastic all the way around, and has not disappointed so far. Not in the least. Reynor continuing to just roll down this ramp into the teeth of Maru's defense, which I don't know that I agree with. There's Widow Mines, there's tanks, there's Marauders, and again, Maru just manages to hold this thing off. There's just not enough happening right now. Hydra's cruising on down. Yes, a bunch of Banelings are connecting on some of those SCVs. Are there enough? No, Reynor does get the win there in 25 minutes and 39 seconds. I thought Maru had enough to hold, but it turns out he did not. And Reynor comes back from losing like 30 drones in the first 15 minutes to win the game. Yeah, the Hydras. The 3-3 Hydras in this situation doing really well for themselves against no medevac Marines and Marauders. Just in those numbers, making decent trades at the very least. And then, yeah, you know what's crazy? No orbitals died in this game. Maru babysat his orbitals so well that 0 orbital commands died in this entire game, which is bananas. Who is still watching this game? Everybody's watching this game. This was a good game to watch if you were observing it. Maynard was observing it. Wardy was in here. Mapu was observing, I believe. I don't know who MTO is. Trados! Trados was the last one to lose the game. Good guy, Trados. All right. So, yeah, how crazy is that? For all the times orbital commands were under attack in this game, 0 of them died. 0 of them died. 2 planetaries and a command center died, but no orbitals went down, which, I'm just kidding, there was 1. Just kidding. How is this sorted? Is this, like, alphabetical or something? No, it's just random. So there's an orbital command over by here. I don't know when it died. I really don't. I don't remember seeing it. But regardless, yeah, 3 hatcheries, a hive, a hydralisk den, a lurker den, baneling nest, infestation pit. Like, all these tech structures died here for Reynor. He had to reset everything he was doing. Everything he was doing at about the 12-minute mark of this match, and it didn't matter. He was able to bring it back. Oh my gosh. That was... it's Reynor, man. It's Reynor. I don't... I know people are going to flood the comments with stuff like Zerg is overpowered. But I've seen Maru make the elite Zerg players in 2020 like Dark and like Rogue look silly and look like they didn't know what they were doing. So for Reynor to look like this, I have to argue that it's Reynor looking like this. I just do. Incredible. Just incredible game all the way around there. So a nice job by Reynor getting the win. Maru, again, refused to die. Lost 42 Widow Mines. Lost 19 Ghosts. He had 1 Ghost, 2 Marines, and 2 Marauders at the end of the game, which was not enough. Not with the bank that he had, not with the bank that Reynor was rolling with. I think Maru's inability to recognize there was a base in the top left was a massive problem. He was able to kill hatcheries, but not for the last couple minutes. You got to keep killing Zerg hatcheries if you're going to do this thing. Reynor's even expanding down this way. I mean, just Maru was tucked into this tiny corner and couldn't get out. Reynor was attacking from multiple directions at once. Maru never really got super surprised by stuff, but every once in a while, just a bad trade happened. And that was it. So, boosh. What a match. What an absolutely insane match. That was a lot of fun. Do we give it an epic tag? How about this? You guys let me know in the comments. Do you think this should be an epic tag? And if I get more people saying it should get an epic tag than say shouldn't get an epic tag, we'll count thumbs up and stuff too on those comments. Then we'll give it an epic tag, and if the reverse is true, we won't. Sounds good. All right, so bang, that's going to be it for me. Not sure what else to say about this game, but thank you so much for watching. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.